Welcome to my portion of my presentation. I am Jennifer Thawley, and I will be sharing with you all a summary of an article and some helpful resource websites on dementia. So let's start here. I read a scholarly journal that discusses dementia and the risk factors, including its prevalence. A patient with dementia is robbed from their independence, which places a huge burden on the individual, the family, and their caregivers, making this disease one of the biggest challenges of the century. While some may use dementia and Alzheimer's interchangeable, it is important to note that they are not the same. However, they do share a strong correlation because Alzheimer's is the most prevalent cause of dementia. Age is one of the major factors in dementia, but there are other factors that can contribute to the onset of dementia. These are genetic factors, vascular factors, methodological issues, insidious onset, and biomarkers are also contributing factors to the disease. The article concludes that age, genetic, and vascular factors are the leading causes of dementia. So, while I was able to provide you guys with a summary, I now want to touch base on a couple of those things, specifically the factors that are mentioned in that article. So some key things that I took from the article as well was that most of the studies that have been conducted on the prevalence of dementia have focused on subjects that have been aged over 65 years old. However, dementia can also affect people under the age of 65. So that was very interesting. However, the more common age is 65 and over. Let's see, but a lot of the studies that have focused on dementia have actually been more so geared to Alzheimer's, since that's the frequent cause of dementia. So it can be a little bit of confusing when you hear dementia and Alzheimer's. But interestingly enough, when they did the study on the prevalence of dementia and Alzheimer's, it has shown that age was a really huge factor as far as advancement in age is the risk of developing dementia. But what they also found was that the female sex has repeatedly been shown to be associated with an increased risk of Alzheimer's, especially at old age. Now, when we get into the genetic factors as being one of the factors of developing dementia, is mutations in several genes, and that has been shown to cause Alzheimer's. But, however, while genetic factors are a possible factor in the disease, it only accounts for less than 5%. So that's pretty low. And then we go into vascular risk factors, and there is an abundant evidence that vascular factors play a role in Alzheimer's. And vascular factors are diabetes, smoking, heart disease, hypertension, which has been shown to be associated with Alzheimer's. And now we look at methodological issues. And when we talk about those issues, we're talking about diagnostic procedures. So this is, the diagnosis of Alzheimer's and the clinical criteria, and that whole process of defining the ultimate outcome of Alzheimer's. That could be a factor, something occurring within, those issues of, and just the testing per se. And then we go to the insidious onset. And that talks about, the neuropathological changes that are eventually leading to this clinical syndrome of dementia. And this can start as early as decades before the disease becomes clinically overt. So the transition can be rather, abrupt. And then biomarkers are another factor. So that was pretty much the factors that were discussed, but overall the prevalence here is age. Age was the huge factor in developing dementia, Alzheimer's. So I like to go over the national web resources. So we have the first Alzheimer's Disease Education and Referral Center. So what ADEAR, ADEAR, stands for, let's see, as far as what they represent in their website, is they have so many different resources on the basics of Alzheimer's, the causes, the symptoms, the diagnosis, even from the treatment to caregiving. And this is a resource for professionals, and also for, the public. So there's a lot of good, resourceful information. And then we have the Alzheimer's Research Forum, and that discusses information for the patient and the family and the caregivers, and they will really benefit from this because it has articles on genetics, diagnosis, research, news, and interviews. So I felt that that website was very helpful for families and someone who needs to learn a little bit about, dementia and Alzheimer's. It has a good amount of information there. And lastly, we have the Healthline website, and this has a collection of actual videos that have been produced by authors, corporations, companies, film agencies that have shared, stories of people who live with Alzheimer's. And I really think that this provides a good insight, because some people, we can read and we think we know and understand Alzheimer's, but to actually see a day-to-day video of a snapshot of someone's life living with dementia, you could see how troubling and how challenging it is. And interestingly enough, I saw this one video, and it was about this couple, this married couple, and the wife did not understand her mother-in-law's dementia. She just didn't understand it. And it caused problems in her marriage with her husband. And her husband decided to do the experiments. And this experiment was, he was limited, and as in someone with Alzheimer's is limited to hearing, cognitive functioning. And he really grasped a huge understanding for his mother after. And that was really nice to watch, because we don't know how someone feels until we're in those shoes. So that's a really great website, because not only does it have those videos of Alzheimer's and dementia, but it also shares a lot of resourceful information about what the disease is, what factors play into it, and a lot of information for professionals and for everyday people. All right, well, that is it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.